Hello and welcome back to another Flutter tutorial. In this video, we will be learning about local notifications. So we will be doing simple notification, schedule notifications, repeater notifications, notifications with attachments, and many more. Okay, so let's start. So this is my main.dart file where I have set an empty container as home. Now we will see what are the dependencies that we need to do local notifications in Flutter. So let's open the pubspec YAML file. So here we have four main dependencies: the Rx start, path provider, HTTP, and Flutter local notifications. So you will see where we are going to use these dependencies. Okay. So once you have added these dependencies, make sure to call Flutter packages get to integrate these dependencies into your project. Okay. So if you are using VS Code, it should automatically do when you save the pubspec YAML file. Okay, so let's create a new file. I'm going to name it local notification screen.dart, which is going to be a stateful widget. So let me name the screen, and we need to import the material package from Flutter. Okay, let's create the state. So the create state should return the state. Okay, so you are all set now. Now let's go to the main.dart file and set this file as home. Okay, so that's our class, which is set as home. All right, let's run the app in all connected devices with flutter run -d space all. Okay, now we will create a simple UI with a scaffold and app bar, and title will say local notifications, and the body with a sender widget, and we will have a button at the center of the screen. Okay, so the child, which is going to be a flat button, and on press of the button we'll be calling on functions, but let's leave it blank for now. And child, which is a text widget, I'm going to say send notification. Okay, by the time our application is being built, let's go and create a new file. I'm going to name it notification plugin.dart. So this is the file where we are going to write our notification related functions. Okay, so our application is up now. Let's create the class notification plugin. Okay, so let me refresh the app and show it in Android and iOS. Okay, so it's up now. So we need to get a handle to the plugin and we need to initialize it here, right? So let's create a variable Flutter local notifications plugin. Okay, and I'm going to create a constructor. Okay, and a new function init, and inside init I'm going to initialize the plugin. So Flutter notification plugin is equal to new Flutter local notification plugin. So as you know, in iOS you need to have a permission from the user to show the notifications, right? So let's get the permission from the user. So let me import the .io and show file and platform. So let's use the platform to detect the platform. So if the notification is iOS, we need to prompt the system to show the notification dialog, right? So call Flutter notification plugin dot resolve platform specific implementation, because it's going to work only in iOS and not in Android. Pass in the type iOS Flutter notifications plugin. So let's get the permission from the user by calling request permissions, and you can have different filters in iOS. Alert, I'm setting it to false, and badge, I'm setting it to false, and sound, let's set it to true, or badge also let's set it to true. Okay, and write a new function initialize platform specifics. Okay, I'm going to call it in init method. Okay, and let's initialize the settings for each platform. So first one is for Android, so call Android Initialization Settings and pass in the icon name for the notification. So let's see how we can create a notification icon in Android Studio. So let me open the Android project. Okay, so that's our Android Studio, and this is our Android manifest file. Now let's go to the plugin page and see what are the native settings that are needed for this plugin to work. So just go through it, and those are just simple things to include the images and all. Okay, and for scheduled notifications you need to have this permission boot completed, and also don't forget to add this receiver in the Android manifest file. Okay, and optionally you can add the vibration permission as well. Okay, all right, so I have already added it, and these are the receivers. So those were the native side settings for this plugin. Okay, now let's go ahead and create the notification icon. So go to res folder and create a new image asset and select the notification icons and give it a name, and other settings I am leaving it as default. Okay, so once you hit finish, it will be added to your project. Okay, so let me show the icons that are added to our project. Okay, so those are our icons. Okay, now we are set with the icons, so that's our icon name. Okay, now we are done with Android, and let's switch to iOS settings. So let's create a new variable, Initialization Settings iOS, and call iOS Initialization Settings, and we need to set different properties. Request alert permission to true, request batch permission, so let's set it to true, and the third one is request sound permission. Okay, the next property is a callback on did receive local notification. So this function will be triggered only in versions, iOS versions less than 10. Okay, so that's because in iOS versions less than 10, the local notifications will not be triggered if your application is already running in foreground. Okay, so if you want to handle that, you can add this callback. So let's create a new variable. I'm gonna create a variable of type behavior subject. So before that, let me create a class received notification, and that's going to have ID, which is a notification ID, a title, and a body, also a string payload. Okay, and let's create a constructor received notification that is going to accept all these parameters. Okay, so all are required: ID, title, body, and payload. Okay, now let's create a variable with type behavior subject. Okay, so it's kind of a string, but it's little different from a stream. So it's going to, how it is different is it's going to hold the last value that it is received as part of the stream. Okay, so let's not talk about it right now, and you can implement it in your own way you want. So let me show you how to implement this with the help of a stream. Okay, the behavior subject. Okay, and I'm going to create the received notification object with all those parameters that are received in the on did receive notification, and I'm going to add it to that stream. Okay, so if we want to get it, we need to listen to that stream, right? So let's write a new function, set listener for lower versions, and pass in a function. So if your class want to listen to this stream, it can simply call this function and pass in its own function, and inside this function we're going to listen to the stream. Okay, so that will be did receive local notification subject dot listen. Okay, so there we will get the data from the notification when it is added to the stream, and we will call our function to send back the data. Okay, now let's go to our platform specific function, and I'm going to create a new variable, initialization settings, and call the method to initialize the plugin with Android settings and iOS settings, and call Flutter local notification plugin dot initialize with the settings. Okay, and it's gonna take another parameter. The second parameter is called on select notification, which will be called when the user selects or taps a notification. Okay, so that's going to return the payload which we pass in with the notification. Okay, so I'm copying that function and I'm going to create a new function, set on notification click, and I'm going to pass in a function similar to the function above. Okay, so any class can implement this function and get the notification data from the click. Okay, so I'm making that variable global, the initialization settings, and I'm gonna remove this. Right, okay, we have already set it inside this function. So let's call this function on notification click, and we'll pass the data back with that function. Okay, we need to make these functions asynchronous. Okay, so let me do that. Okay, so we are all set with our basic setup. Now let's go back to our UI, that is the local notification screen, and I'm gonna implement these functions. So a new function with the received notification parameter, and second one is the on notification click with the payload parameter. Okay, and let me go to the notifications plugin class, and I'm going to create an object of this class which is going to be a global object. Okay, so that we can call the functions in this class using this object. Now let's go ahead and create the notifications. I'm going to create a new function, show notification. Let's initialize the platform specific settings first. So first one for Android notification details with the channel ID, channel name, and channel description. So what you need to keep in mind is that once you initialize a notification with a channel ID, the basic settings is not going to change. Okay, so I will be showing what that means. So these are the settings that we need to set, but for demonstrating that, I'm not going to set these parameters, the importance and priority. So these three are our Android settings. Okay, and I'm gonna set the settings for iOS. Okay, I'm leaving it empty, and I'm gonna create a notification details object with both Android and iOS settings and pass it to the Flutter notification plugin. Okay, so called Flutter notification plugin dot show, pass in the notification ID, title, body, the platform specifics, and also the payload. Okay, all right, now let's go back to our UI and call this function on press of the button. Okay, sorry, I forgot to initialize, right? So let's override the inState method and initialize the callbacks. So that would be notification plugin dot set listener for low versions and pass in our method, and similarly notification plugin dot set on notification click and pass in our method. Okay, so let's call our notification method show notification. Okay, so it's asking for permission, right? You can read through it, and so that's describing all these values, the alerts, badges, and sound. So you can see we have the notification now. So let's print out the payload. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so we have the payload now. Now let's see what is happening in Android. So you can see the notification is there, but it's not coming on top, right? So that's because we haven't set the importance and the priority, right? So let's try setting the importance and priority. So it's in here. Okay, importance dot high, sorry, max, and priority. Still it's not working, so let's set the priority to high. Okay, so you can see still it's not working because I already told like this channel settings, it's already been set, right? So you cannot change it once you set it. So you can change the channel ID or you can reinstall the app. So I'm reinstalling the app and let's see what happens. So now the app is installed in Android. So when you click, you can see the notification on top, right? Okay, so that's the idea. So guys, I have already shown how the Android native setup for this plugin will look like, right? So let's go to the plugin documentation and see how the iOS setup will look like. Okay, so let's go to the iOS section and you need to copy this code if your Flutter project is in Objective-C. So otherwise you need to copy the Swift version. Okay, so let me go to the iOS project. Okay, open iOS and open the workspace project. Okay, so I have already added it, right? Okay, so let's try out some other configurations. So let me set the sound to true and the play sound to true and timeout to 5 seconds. Timeout after, so the notification will dismiss after 5 seconds. So let's try that. Okay, wait for 5 seconds. Okay, it got dismissed. All right. Okay, now let's try setting the style information. So style information to default style information, that will accept two parameters, the HTML format for content and HTML format for title. Okay, and let's try changing the title to HTML. Let me set it to bold. Okay, and let's restart the app. And let's go to the Android emulator. So you can see title is in bold now. So when you try it on iOS, it's not working because iOS doesn't support that. So that's why we had set it for the Android channel specifics. Okay, so let me remove that and I'm going to copy this function and paste it again, and I'm going to change it to schedule notification, and we are going to show the notification at a future time. So let me say daytime.now.add. Let's add a duration of 5 seconds. So it's going to be fired 5 seconds from when it is triggered. Okay, I'm going to change the channel ID, name and description. Okay, and you can set the secondary icon as well. Make sure to include the image in the Android resources. And the next thing is you can set the sound. So you have to copy this my sound in your Android raw folder. So create a folder, a directory named raw, and you have to copy my_sound in that folder. And optionally you can set the large icon And so you need to provide this icon also in the Android resources. And optionally you can set so many other parameters, the color, and also LED color, LED on milliseconds and LED off milliseconds. Okay, so you can try all those. And let's set the iOS channel specifics. I'm setting the sound to my sound dot AIFF. So that's a format from Apple. You can provide your own sound. Make sure to call schedule in the Flutter notification plugin and give it the schedule time. Okay. All right. Now let's call this function from our UI. So notification plugin dot schedule notification. Okay. Restart the app. So after 5 seconds, we should see a notification. Okay. So there we have the notification, and on clicking the notification, we will get the test payload. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So that's working good. Now let's try a notification with attachment. So let's write a new function, future void show notification with attachment. Okay. And we need to get the attachment from the internet. So let's write a new method to download the, let's say, an image from the internet. So download and save file, and I'm going to pass in the URL and a file name. Okay, so var directory is equal to get application documents directory. So we are going to download and save it in the applications document directory. Okay, and let's define a file path. So directory.path / file name. Okay, and response is equal to await http.get. So let me import the http package as http. Okay, so let me create a new file with that file path. So var file is equal to file with the file path, and await file.write as bytes, and get the response.body bytes. Okay, and return the file path. Okay, now let's get a URL from the internet. So let me go to the Chrome browser and go to placeholder.com and open the image in a new tab, and let me try 800 by 120 or 200. Okay, it's there. Okay, paste it there and give the file name. So let me give it as attachment image.jpg. Okay, so it should download the image and return the file path. So let's set the iOS platform specifics. So is equal to iOS notification details and pass in the attachments. So that's an array. So let's set the iOS notification attachment with the attachment picture path. So let's change to picture path. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good now. Okay, now let's set the platform specifics for Android. So attachment style information, that is big picture style information, and we need to give the file path Android bitmap and pass in our file path. And content title, let's set it to attachment attached image in bold, and HTML format content title to true. So that makes the HTML content to show properly. Similarly for summary text as well. Now let's create a new variable Android channel specifics. So that will be Android notification details. So similar to what we did earlier in the other function. Give the channel ID, name, description, and also we need to set the importance and priority. So importance to importance dot high and priority dot high, and the style information is the big picture style information. Okay, now we need to set these two channel specifics to the notification plugin. So create a new variable, notification details, and pass in the Android channel specifics and iOS platform specifics. Now let's call the Flutter notification plugin to show the notification. So Flutter notifications plugin dot show with notification ID. We'll set it to 0, and title with attachment, body with attachments, and the notification details. Okay, now let's try this method. I'm gonna restart the app and let's see if that works. Click on send notification. Okay, so you can see the attachment now. Now let's try in Android emulator. Okay, so there is our attachment. Okay, so it's working in both the platforms. All good. Now let's try to do a repeat notification. So let's go to the notification plugin dot, and I'm copying the show notification method and renaming it to repeat notification. So here we need to give a repeat interval, right? That's what repeat notification means. So in the Flutter plugin dot show method, we need to give the repeat interval. I'm going to give it every minute. So the method should not be show, it should be let me try periodically show. Okay, and give it the interval as every minute. So it's going to fire every minute. Sorry, I forgot to call this method. Okay, restart the app, click on send notification. Now we need to wait for 1 minute, so I'm just fast forwarding the video. Okay, now it should appear. Okay, so 8:56, we started at 8:55. Okay, let me change the title and body. Let's try that. So 8:56 now, 8:57. Okay, so there it is. So one thing I forgot to tell you is we can set the body of the notification to null. Okay, so let's try that and see how it appears. Okay, so you can see that. All right, now let's say we want to show the user a notification daily at a time. So let's see how we can do that. I'm copying the show notification method and changing it to show at daily at time. Okay, and we need to define the time, at what time we want to show it. I'm just changing the channel ID, name, and description. Let's define a time variable and pass in the time to the show method. That should be show daily at time, and pass in the time. So let's set the time to, let me check my system time, it's 8:59, so let's set it to 9 o'clock, that is 21:00. Oh, I think I'm calling the wrong method. Yeah, so let me call the show daily at time method. That is set to 9 o'clock, right? So let me change it to 9:01 because it's already 9 o'clock. So click on send notification, and when it is 9:01 it should trigger. Okay, I'm clicking it again by changing the title. Okay, so it appeared, it's 9:01. Okay, but the time variable is wrong, right? So let me display the time. So time dot hour and time dot minute and time dot seconds. Okay, So let's try that again, changing it to 9.2. Send notification. It's already passed, so 9.3. So let's wait for it. So by the time, let's write another method, show weekly at daytime. So if you want to show a notification on a particular day in a week at a particular time, we can do it like this. So let's set it to 10 o'clock. And the method is show weekly at day and time. And we need to pass in the day. So let me set it to Monday and pass in the time. Okay. So let me try that here. So it's 9:05 and my day is Saturday. Okay, let's see if that works. I'm commenting it and calling the new method. Okay, so let's try that. So it should be at 9:05. So it's 9:04 Saturday. So okay, so that is triggered. Okay, so that's also working. So the next thing is, let's say we want to get the number of notifications that are pending to be triggered at some later time. Okay, so let's get the count. So for that, let's call Flutter notification plugin dot pending notification request. So that's going to return a list of pending notification requests, and we just need to get the length of it. Okay, let's try that and see if there are any pending notifications in our app. Okay, so let me declare a variable count, and count is equal to await notifications plugin dot get pending notification count. Okay, and we will show it in the button itself. Okay, so it's 0, or we'll just print it out. Let's remove that. Okay, so in the console you can see that it's 1 now. That's because we have a notification to be triggered in the coming Saturday at 9:05 p.m. right? That's why it's showing 1. So let's see how we can cancel those notifications, those future scheduled notifications, or how we can cancel a particular notification ID if we know its ID. So if you remember, we have been setting a notification ID for every notification, right? So it should be unique so that we should be able to cancel that notification. Okay, so assuming we have the notification ID, so how we can cancel it? So it's simple. Flutter notification plugin dot cancel and pass in the notification ID. If we go to some of the older methods that we wrote, so you can see we set the notification ID as 0, but it should be unique. Okay, so that you can cancel it. Now let's try that. Call notification plugin dot cancel notification. Okay, now let's try to print out the pending notification count. Okay, restart the app and click on the button. Okay, earlier it was 1, so when we cancelled it, it became 0. Okay, so that's cancelling. All right, and another use case is if you want to cancel all the notifications. Okay, so it's simple. Just change the cancel method to cancel all. So that will cancel all the pending notifications. Okay, so those were some of the methods and some of the functionalities of this plugin, but you can explore more in the documentation. So let's say we want to show the notification data in a new screen. Okay, so let me create a new file. I'm going to name it notification screen. So when the notification appears and when the user taps on it, we will be sending the data to the screen and displaying it there. Okay, so let's create the screen, create the state, return the state. Okay, and we will create a simple UI with a text field, a text, and the screen is going to accept a string payload in the constructor. Okay, so I'm going to create a scaffold with an abba title, let me say notification screen, and the body with a sender widget with just a text that's going to display whatever the payload that's coming in through the constructor. Okay, so let's call navigator.push with a context, and the second parameter is the material page route. Okay, that's going to take the builder. The builder will have the context, and we need to return the screen. So return notification screen, and we need to pass in the payload. So payload, and pass in the payload. Okay, so let's try that. I'm calling the show notification method, and if I click on send notification, nothing is going to appear because we are canceling it right away, right? So let's comment that, and let's try that again. Click on notification, click on that. So we are sending the test payload. So let me try with a new payload. Okay, let's trigger that again. So we're sending the new payload, so that's also working. All right, so I'll be providing the link to the source code in the description, so make sure you switch to the local notifications branch when you download the source code from Bitbucket. Okay, so that's all for this video. If you found the video useful, please support by giving a like, share the video, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Until then, bye.